Shalom Aleichem. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and participants of the Assyria Day virtual conference, on behalf of the Young Assyrians and the Assyrian National Council Australia, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each and every single one of you to the 12th Annual Assyria Day 2023. It is a momentous occasion and we are delighted to have you join us today. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed keynote speakers and guest speakers for gracing us with their presence and sharing their insights during tonight's program. Your valuable contributions are greatly appreciated. I would also like to extend a special welcome to all our guests and audiences who are watching us from Voice of Hope live on Facebook. Your support and presence means a lot to us. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Liana Alkas, and I have the honor of serving you as your Master of Ceremony for the English part of the program. I will be joined by Mr. Albert Schlimon, who will guide us through the program in the Assyrian language. Once again, thank you for being a part of this remarkable event. Let us embark on this journey together, celebrating our rich Assyrian heritage and fostering a sense of unity and pride. Happy Assyria Day. I would now like to say a few words in Assyrian. Archan yaqira, qabolochan iwam shena, o baroche wach yomet atura kulochan, o itlan sora et Maria alaha betnater al umtan ashureta, o mamtila al nisho alaya. Kheye kheruta go arat atur qadishta. Ana iwan liana alkas, o bithoyan amochon, go sama qamayet khorza, blishana inglisnaya. O miqra Albert Schlimon bithawe amochon go sama pishana blishanat ashuraya. In this solemn moment, I kindly request your utmost respect as we observe a minute of silence to demonstrate our unwavering solidarity and deep reverence for the Assyrian martyrs, both past and present, who have sacrificed so much for the continuation of our heritage and existence. Thank you. I'd like to formally welcome our guests of honor. His Beatitude Meelis Zaia, AM, Metropolitan of Australia, New Zealand and Lebanon, Patriarchal Vicar General, Assyrian Church of the East. The Honourable Chris Bowen, MP, Minister for Climate Change and Energy. Dr. Hugh McDermott, MP, Member for Prospect and Chairman of Parliamentary Friends of Assyria. Dr. David Saliba, MP, State Member for Fairfield. Mr. Tree Vo, MP, State Member for Cabramatta. Mayor Joseph Howell, Hume City, Aitken Ward, Victoria. Councillor Charbel Saliba of Fairfield City Council. Mr. Sawathi Ek, founder of Australian Southeast Asian Network. Dr. Ron Susek, Ministry Leader, Firestorm Consultant, Christian author, founder and president of the Susek Evangelistic Association, as well as author of the Assyrian Prophecy. Dr. Yaacov Moaz, Chairperson of the Committee for the Revival of the Aramaic Assyrian Language in Israel, who has a recorded presentation for us. Dr. Ramina Jaju Friedrich, President and Strategic Consultant, Safo Center, Arizona Chapter. Rabbi Anwar Atzur, Principal of the Assyrian Language College, Assyrian Church of the East. Ms. Stephanie Vazdakis, representing the Assyrian Cultural and Social Youth Association, AXIA. Mr. Hamish Shaheen, President of the Assyrian National Council of Australia. And Mr. David, Vice President of the Assyrian National Council of Australia. I will now begin my speech on behalf of the Young Assyrians. Good evening and a warm welcome to the Virtual Assyrian Day Conference. As the youth hosting this significant event, it is an honor to be before you today and extend my heartfelt greetings. Tonight, we gather to celebrate our rich heritage and embrace our collective vision for a revitalized Assyria. The Assyria Day Conference holds immense importance for us, the youth of our community. It represents a platform where our voices can be heard, where our ideas can flourish, and where we can actively contribute to the advancement of our Assyrian identity. We stand here today as the torchbearers of our heritage, entrusted with the responsibility of preserving and promoting our traditions, history, and aspirations. Our generation, fueled by passion and determination, recognizes the pressing issues that face our community. We understand the challenges of displacement, assimilation, and the erosion of our cultural heritage. But we refuse to be silent observers. Instead, we choose to be agents of change. We aim to inspire and empower our fellow Assyrian youth, encouraging them to embrace their identity, embrace their roots, and forge a brighter future. Education lies at the core of our endeavors. We firmly believe that by educating our youth about our traditions, history, and language, we equip them with the tools to become proud and confident Assyrians. Through educational initiatives, cultural programs, and digital platforms, we strive to ensure that our youth are well-versed in our rich heritage and connected to our ancestral homeland. The themes of today's conference highlights the crucial role of the youth in shaping the future of our community. We will delve into topics such as Assyrian youth empowerment, exploring initiatives, programs, and strategies that promote leadership, self-expression, and cultural preservation. We will discuss the challenges faced by Assyrian youth in the diaspora, fostering a sense of belonging and identity in a rapidly changing world. Together, we will explore how our youth can actively engage with and contribute to the modern Assyrian community. But let us not forget the importance of unity. We, the youth, believe in the power of collaboration and collective action. We aim to bridge the gaps that divide us, bringing together Assyrians and non-Assyrians from all walks of life, regardless of borders or political differences. Our unity is our strength, and by standing together, we can overcome the challenges that lie ahead. As we navigate the complexities of the modern world, we recognize the importance of utilizing technology and digital platforms to connect Assyrians across the globe. Through social media, online forums, and virtual events like this conference, we can create a sense of belonging and solidarity, transcending geographical boundaries and fostering a global Assyrian community. In closing, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to each and every single one of you for joining us today. Your presence is a testament to your commitment to our Assyrian heritage and our shared vision for a vibrant and thriving Assyria. Let us embrace this opportunity to learn, to collaborate, and to ignite the flames of hope and unity within our hearts. Together, as the youth, we can make a difference. Let us seize this moment to reclaim our identity, celebrate our culture, and work towards a future where Assyria shines brightly. Thank you for being a part of this historic conference, and may it be a catalyst for the transformation and empowerment of our Assyrian youth. Thank you, and welcome to the Assyria Day Conference. For an official welcome, I will now call upon Mr. Hermes Shaheen, President and the founding member of the Assyrian National Council Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Liana. طوطانوت مرمل Zaia وكلهم أرخن يقيرة من كل جهات الدنيا من جيب متوم تنايا عطوراية أستراليا قابلوخن يمشينا ومقروبة وقوبة طيبوتا جرتا الشركتوخن أمان قده زويا خبريخا يوم تآطر هاو بريخا الكلوخن همزانتي لتويا بلشانا إنجلسنايا. His Beatitude مرمل Zaia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to welcome you all to the virtual Assyria Day Conference. I am delighted to extend a heartfelt welcome and convey our profound gratitude to all the distinguished guests, keynote speakers, and esteemed individuals who have gathered here today from different parts of the world. Each one of you brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise in your respective fields. making this event truly remarkable. Our appreciation to Dr. Ron Susek for joining us live from USA in this early hours of the morning. I would like to extend special appreciation to our dear friend from Israel, Dr. Yaacov Moaz, for the incredible recorded message he has kindly provided, which will be presented later in the program. Today, we not only commemorate the rich history of our nation, but also look forward to the future with a sense of determination and purpose. I would like to emphasize the importance of taking concrete actions to ensure the preservation and prosperity of the Assyrian people in the years to come. First and foremost, we must focus our efforts on facilitating the return of Assyria from diaspora to their ancestral homeland in Nineveh. This is a crucial step towards reviving our community, rebuilding our infrastructure, and claiming our rightful place in the region. By providing support and creating opportunities for Assyrians to come back to Nineveh, we can foster a vibrant and thriving Assyrian society. Additionally, it's imperative that we work towards a unification of the Assyrian people. We must transcend our differences, whether they are political, religious, or ideological, and come together as one cohesive community. By fostering unity and collaboration, we can amplify our collective voice and advocate for the rights and well-being of the Assyrian worldwide. This includes engaging with Assyrian organizations, fostering dialogue, and creating platforms for open discussions that promote understanding and cooperation. Education plays a crucial role in preserving our traditions and history. It's of utmost importance that we prioritize the education of Assyrian youth and equip them with knowledge about our vibrant cultural heritage. By establishing educational institutions, cultural centers, and initiatives that promote the Assyrian language, history, and tradition, we can empower the next generation to become proud ambassadors of our identity. Additionally, we should leverage digital platforms and technologies to develop innovative educational resources that are accessible to Assyrians worldwide. On this note, I would like to express my gratitude to the Assyrian Church of the East in Australia for establishing the Assyrian Primary, Assyrian High School, and College in Sydney, which cater to over 1,000 Assyrian students. Furthermore, we anticipate similar institutions to be established in Melbourne soon. Looking ahead, we must strive for the establishment of a homeland where Assyrians can flourish and preserve their unique identity. This requires active engagement with international organizations, governments, and stakeholders to advocate for the recognition and protection of Assyrian rights. By pursuing diplomatic avenues, lobbying efforts, and legal frameworks, we can lay a groundwork for creation of a secure and prosperous homeland that safeguards the future of our people. We must continue to raise awareness and shed light about the ongoing challenges and discriminations and injustice faced by Assyrians in the Middle East and demand action from the international community. In conclusion, let us use this virtual Assyria Day conference as a catalyst for change and progress. Together, we can forge a future where Assyrians return to Nineveh, unite as one community, educate our youth, establish a homeland, and overcome the challenges we face. By taking these future actions, we ensure that the Assyrian legacy thrives and remains a beacon of hope for generations to come. Thank you once again, and joyous Assyrian Day to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaheen, for your official welcome and for those invaluable words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor and admiration that we introduce His Beatitude Meelis AM. Not that he needs to be introduced, because I'm certain that all those listening tonight are aware of the great and truly awesome achievements that Baruch Mad has attained for our community. From his unwavering dedication to the church to his establishment of schools and colleges, Mr. Meelis Zaia can only be described as a true pioneer of our community. We are truly thankful and honoured by your presence on our program tonight, Baruch Mad, in both parts of this program, and we invite you to say a few words.
Thank you, Liana, for that introduction. God bless you. Dear Mr. Hermes Shaheen, President of Assyrian National Council of Australia, dear David, and all members of Assyrian Council of Australia, I would first like to take this opportunity of this celebration of Assyria Day to thank you for your sincere efforts and dedication in preserving this important day in the life of our Assyrian nation. Also, I would like to welcome and thank all our distinguished guests who are participating in this gathering, especially both in the English session and the Assyrian session. I would like to welcome our the honorable federal, state, and local members in Sydney and Melbourne in their participation also, and our keynote speaker, Dr. Ron Susek, President of the Susek Evangelical Associations. Liana, since I'm going to be speaking in the Assyrian session, therefore, I would like just to give more time to other distinguished speakers in the English sessions, because I see there's a long list. So I will be addressing it in this session in the Assyrian section. Thank you all. Welcome. And God bless you all, and happy and blessed Assyria Day to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meelis. Yes, we cannot wait to hear from you again very soon in the Assyrian session of this program. It is with great pleasure that I introduce our next distinguished guest speaker, the Honourable Chris Bowen MP, Minister for Climate Change and Energy. Mr. Bowen is a highly respected figure in the field of politics and has made significant contributions in various areas throughout his career. One aspect that sets Mr. Bowen apart is his unwavering support for the Assyrian community. Over the years, he has built a strong and enduring friendship with the community, actively championing their cause. His efforts include raising historical motions in the federal parliament, advocating for the establishment of an autonomous region in the Assyrian homeland in northern Iraq. By shedding light on the persecution and discrimination faced by Assyrians in Iraq, Mr. Bowen has fearlessly highlighted their plight. This dedication was evident in his most recent motion on the 21st of June 2021. It is an honour to have the Honourable Chris Bowen MP with us today. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to him as he addresses us.
Pasita Rabba Liana and Shalom Alokum to everybody watching at home. It's great to be with you on this very important occasion. I want to acknowledge, of course, His Beatitude, Meelis Zaia. It's always good to see Saidna, and also my parliamentary colleagues. I know we have Hugh McDermott and David Saliba, and also the Mayor of the City of Hume, Joseph Hawil, who is a long way from where I am in Fairfield, but is something we're very proud of. It was great to see Joseph at the recent local government conference in Canberra. It's always good to see a friendly face, and it was wonderful to see a very proud Australian Assyrian, and we're very proud of Joseph in Fairfield, as I know they are in Hume, and I also acknowledge Trevo, the member for Cabramatta, who is present. And as we're celebrating and acknowledging the Indigenous people of Assyria, I also acknowledge the Indigenous people of Australia and pay my respects to the elders of the Gabbargal people of the Darug Nation, on whose lands I'm joining you from tonight. Well, Assyrian National Day is very important, of course. It's become a very important part of our calendar. It's one of the more recent days in the calendar, of course, compared to some of the other days that have been celebrated in the Assyrian community for many, many years, but it's a very important one. And national days are pretty common around the world, but I think this is a particularly important one as Assyrian culture is constantly under attack and has been under attack for millennia. And of course, there is currently no Assyrian nation. That makes the celebration of Assyrian National Day even more important to celebrate Assyrian culture and the importance of what we know and celebrate as a rightful Assyrian nation and the right of Assyrian people to self-determination and freedom wherever they are in the world. And for those people who are joining from overseas, I do want to assure you, as I'm sure you already know, but to reassure you that the Assyrian culture is alive and well many thousands of kilometres from Iraq, Iran and Syria, here in southwestern Sydney. Hermes Shehen mentioned St Herbert's School and St Narsai's schools. They are something we're very proud of. I was at St Narsai's College just on Friday this week to inspect and see the progress on some new developments that the government is funding there. And it was always wonderful to visit St Narsai. And I know I was there just before his Beatitude arrived, and his Beatitude is can really take great credit in St Herbert's and St Narsai. And I know they've produced many, many fine citizens of our community. So I don't want to dominate, as his Beatitude said, there are many, many speakers. I just simply want to pay my respects and my happiness to celebrate Assyrian National Day with you this evening. Assyrian National Day is something that is very important, but of course, in our part of the world, we celebrate Assyrian culture every day. We live it amongst it. It's impossible to live in our part of the world and not be part of Assyrian culture, even those of us who weren't born Assyrian. It's something that we celebrate every day and nurture here in Australia, and I acknowledge today. Thank you for having me with you. Basim Taraba Liana.
Thank you very much, Basim Taraba, Mr. Chris Bowen. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is a great honour to have you as our guest speaker in this conference. Allow me to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Ron Susek. With over 40 years of experience in Christian ministry, Dr. Susek is an ordained minister, evangelist, and former television and radio Bible teacher. He has made significant contributions through his extensive study, writing, and preaching, impacting people globally. As revealed in his recent book, The Assyrian Prophecy, Dr. Susek was captivated by the prophecy stated in the book of Isaiah that included Assyria. For more than 13 years of research, he uncovered amazing discoveries about the plight of the Assyrians, who he has described as an unknown Christian nation that is destined for a major end-time role. His intricate and powerful publication explores the role of the Assyrian nation in end-time prophecy and supports their restoration in their God-given homeland. We are honoured to have Dr. Ron Susek as our keynote speaker, confident that his wealth of knowledge, passion for the gospel, and dedication to spreading God's message will inspire and enlighten all those in attendance. Thank you, Dr. Susek. Dr. Ron Susek, can you hear us?
Yeah, Doctor, you have to unmute yourself. You are on mute.
That's fine. Take your time. That's okay.
It's just button to unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Okay, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
You are on now.
I'm sorry, my mouse was not working, and I had to open my. I won't take the time to go into that now, but really so good to be with you. A special thank you to President Hermes Shahem and David for the privilege of being here with you today. I can't tell you how thrilled I am. The Assyrian people have been a great, wonderful burden, a blessing, a weight on my heart for a number of years, and I believe it's been placed there by God. And I'm so thrilled with this opportunity to share with you briefly where I see this whole thing heading. Assyria has become a benchmark, a signpost of the future of the world. That's an enormous thing. And it's found in Isaiah, and I want to read this prophecy. I know that we all know it, but I want to read it again. Isaiah chapter 19, verses 23 to 25. In that day, there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and Assyria will come into Egypt, and Egypt into Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day, Israel will be a third with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of hosts has blessed, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance. That prophecy gives us a signpost. Assyria and Israel and Egypt have become all eyes on these three nations. And I believe we are seeing a movement, the beginning of God resolving and answering that prophecy that he made. Therefore, it is not we put in all of our efforts, but it is God who is going to get them home, God who is going to reestablish them as a state and unite those three nations. And think about this. What we call now the hate center of earth is going to become the love center of earth because of the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Prince Otto von Bismarck said this: a statesman cannot create anything himself. He must wait and listen until he hears the steps of God sounding through the events, then leap up and grasp the hem of his garment. I believe we're beginning to see the movement of God in unique ways in moving the world toward that signpost of the unification of these three nations in worship and becoming a blessing to the entire world. Interestingly enough, David Purley, a great Assyrian statesman, said this: let the mighty of the empire concede that whoever takes up the cause of Assyrians touches upon eternity. And Isaiah chapter 55 tells us this: the word of God never returns void. When he speaks a word, it will be finished. That's why I'm totally convinced, and I know you are as well, we will see Assyria brought together once again as a state in northern Iraq and part of Turkey and Syria. I want to commend Australia. You have touched eternity by blessing these people, by giving them a home and a safety as we're waiting for that day in this great move of God that I think we are beginning to see. And I want to commend you, and I want to commend all of you for the faith you've lived out, your faithfulness to God, to one another, and to the cause that God has established. So thank you for the privilege of being with you. God bless you. And I send you greetings from, let's see, what time is it now? 4:30 a.m. America time. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Ron Susek, for enlightening all of us on the prophecy of Isaiah. I never considered the restoration of my homeland as a signpost of the future, as you have described. Your incredible insight and passion are truly inspirational. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
We are honoured to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for the 12th Annual Assyria Day Conference. Dr. Hugh McDermott MP, State Member for Prospect, holds an impressive academic background and an even more impressive advocate of the Assyrian community. During his inaugural speech, Dr. McDermott expressed his deep appreciation for the Assyrian community, recognising its vital role in the Prospect community. He emphasised how the support and involvement of various organisations within the community played a significant part in his electoral victory in Prospect. Driven by his commitment to serving the Assyrian people, he pledged his dedication to assisting them in any way possible as their state member. Dr. McDermott also shared his anticipation for the establishment of an autonomous Assyrian province in northern Iraq, eagerly looking forward to the day when he can join the Assyrian community in treading the soil of their ancestral homeland together. Let us extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Hugh McDermott, MP, State Member for Prospect.
Thank you, Liana. It's wonderful to be with you. Thank you all very much. Good evening, friends and dignitaries, Your Beatitude, parliamentary colleagues at a federal, state and local council level, guests and of course the members of our Assyrian community. It's wonderful to join you tonight with guests from throughout the world at this annual Assyria Day conference hosted by the Assyrian National Council Australia. Happy Assyria Day. Hermes Shaheen and David spoke to me about what they'd like me to speak about tonight for a few minutes, and one of the issues they decided that I should perhaps chat about was exploring the efforts and challenges faced by Assyrian political organisations in advocating for the rights and interests of the Assyrian people, both at a regional level and international level, and that's what I'm going to do. You know, as the state member of Parliament in the Member of Parliament in the Parliament of New South Wales, I'm privileged to represent the state electorate of Prospect, and where many of our Assyrian community has chosen to live, to work, and to create a vibrant community with their friends, family, and loved ones. But for more than a decade, I've had the opportunity to collaborate with many Assyrian organisations and leaders, such as the Assyrian National Council Australia and his Beatitude, Zaia, on cultural, social, and political matters affecting our Assyrian community. Our Assyrian community in Western Sydney and across Australia, and perhaps throughout the world, has demonstrated their resilience, their activism, and their strength, time and time again. Assyrian political activism has been instrumental in advocating for the rights, dignity, freedom, and interests of our Assyrian people, both at a regional and at an international level. Assyrian political organisations have gone to extensive efforts to campaign for and raise the voice of our Assyrian people, highlighting their rich history and culture by raising awareness of the historical and current challenges that face this diaspora. Our Assyrian community have faced marginalisation, persecution, forced displacement, loss of identity, and ethnic cleansing, and in fact genocide, since the 6th and 7th centuries. This was exacerbated by the 19th and 20th centuries under the oppression of the Ottoman Empire, before and after the World Wars, during the Gulf Wars, and of course the invasion of Iraq and the rise of Daesh, where these circumstances forced hundreds of thousands of Assyrian people to flee their homes while suffering unbearable hardships and, unfortunately, a great deal of loss of life. With the work of Assyrian political organisations on both a regional and international level, the thousands of Assyrians who fled in search of safer homes have had the support to rebuild their lives. Assyrian political organisations have advocated tirelessly for local and international recognition for their people, including raising awareness of things such as the current and historical abuses of human rights perpetrated against our Assyrian community, the Assyrian genocide, the relatives who continue to live under inhumane conditions in the Middle East and other places today, and the preservation of their heritage and connection to their ancestral homeland in the Nineveh Plains. These efforts of organisations such as the Assyrian National Council Australia must be recognised and praised. Their commitment to increasing Assyrian nationalist and political representation ensures the rights and inclusion of our Assyrian people in the communities they have migrated to, such as Western Sydney. It is of utmost importance that our Assyrian community have access to and engage with the political and advocacy processes in their settled communities. And I take this opportunity to especially recognise the work of youth organisations, such as the Young Assyrians and the Assyrian Culture and Social Youth Organisation, who are committed to the engagement and perseverance of identity within our younger generations. Political advocacy at regional and international levels allows and supports our Assyrian diaspora to rebuild their lives and create new communities. The preservation and cultural heritage of Assyrian people allows us to share and experience the duality of both cultures. Ultimately, this creates in many places and has already created a very vibrant community where we are lucky to share and experience language, traditions, and celebrations. However, it is without doubt that Assyrian political organisations have and continue to face many challenges in their work. As many in this conference understand, organisations often have limited resources, and these resources may be even more limited depending on the individual context. Many of our international counterparts face complex geopolitical environments, instability and insecurity, and extremely dangerous physical and political environments and oppression. The work of volunteers is vital to sustain this advocacy work. Despite these dangerous conditions and barriers, volunteers continue to strive on regional and international levels to gain the attention and support that the Assyrian people truly deserve. We rely on their passion and dedication every day, and I especially thank and recognise volunteers who join us here today at this conference. Without you, this important work could not be achieved. Through these challenges, Assyrian political organisations continue to persevere and grow, which is a testimony to their dedication towards bettering the lives and future of our Assyrian people. I am proud, and it is truly an honour to support the Assyrian community in the electorate of Prospect, in Western Sydney, throughout Australia, and in fact, throughout the world. I thank Meelis Shaheen, the President, and David, the Vice President of the Assyrian National Council Australia, for leading such a successful and growing organisation, as well as other members who join us today from the abundant Assyrian political, social and religious organisations in Western Sydney, Australia and internationally. Truly, thank you for engaging in this movement so passionately and through all the challenges you have faced. I look forward to continuing to work with you to support an environment where our Assyrian people can thrive, preserve their cultural heritage, secure their rights, and eventually establish an Assyrian homeland in the Nineveh Plains. God bless you and happy Assyria Day.
Thank you. God bless you too, Dr. McDermott. Thank you for your continued support of our organisations and community. We are truly grateful for your recognition of the plights that Assyrians face daily and helping us to preserve our culture. Thanks again. Unfortunately, our second keynote speaker, Dr. Yaacov Moaz, couldn't participate in this year's Assyria Day conference live, but he has been so kind as to provide us with a recording of his presentation, which we will put up for you. For those who don't know him, Dr. Yaacov Moaz is the chairperson of Lishana Aramaic Renewal in Israel and an ambassador of goodwill for the Assyrian nation. Born to an Assyrian immigrant family in Israel, Dr. Moaz has made pivotal contributions to the revival of the Aramaic Assyrian language and is dedicated to raising awareness about the challenges faced by the Assyrian nation within the Israeli public. We are sorry that our dear friend Dr. Moaz couldn't join us tonight, but we are thankful for his recorded presentation, which we'll now put on for you all to view.
Shalom Shlama to all distinguished attendees and members of the audience. Shalom Shlama from Jerusalem, the holy city, Dita Kodashta, and Shalom Shlama to my beloved brothers, Rabbi Hermes Shaheen and Rabbi David Chayitun. Happy Assyria Day to the Assyrian nation, to the nation that is the twin sister of. In my book, Jerusalem and Nineveh, which will be published soon, I present some very important reasons for building a bridge between the Jewish people and the Assyrian people. I start with the impressive fact that the Jewish and Assyrian nations belong to an exclusive club of nations that shaped the face of humanity. These two twin peoples have a greater similarity than any other two on earth: the language, religion, ethnicity, geography, and national tragedies, the common interests, common values, and common future. I would like to share with you some surprising fact that I present in my book, Jerusalem and Nineveh. The Jewish nation inherited the Assyrian script from the Assyrian Empire. Our Hebrew script is actually an Assyrian script, and that is how it is called in the Jewish sacred literature. Indeed, the Torah, the Holy of Holies of Judaism, is written in Assyrian script. The great sages of Israel call the Assyrian script a sacred script, and the Assyrian language a sacred language. Ashur, the founder of the Assyrian nation, is considered a righteous man and occupies a central place in Jewish theology. Moreover, the Assyrian nation is the only nation to which the God of Israel sends a prophet from Israel to save. Every year, the two nations celebrate the Jewish prophet Jonah's role in saving Nineveh. The Assyrians call it Ba'uta de Nineveh, and the Jews call it Yom Kippur, the holiest day for the Jewish people. Jonah should serve as an example and role model for all who believe in the Bible. Jews and Christians from all over the world must once again save Nineveh from the occupation authorities and from the oppression and persecution of the Islamic countries. We must promote with actions Isaiah's prophecy. On that day, Israel will be third to Egypt and Assyria. I took it upon myself to be a goodwill ambassador in Israel of the Assyrian people. After 4 years of intensive activity, I can say today that many Israelis know about the existence of the Assyrian people and about the language and culture shared by both peoples. I intend to promote a resolution in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, according to which the State of Israel recognized the Assyrian genocide. I intend to erect a memorial monument in Jerusalem to the Assyrian victims of genocide and hold ceremonies there, both in Genocide Memorial Day, Yom Tzahda, as well as the 1st of Nisan, Chab Nisan, the new year common to both nations. I intend to immobilize the political support of the State of Israel for the idea of establishing an Assyrian state in the land of Assyria in the near future. There are people who argue against me that the idea of establishing an Assyrian state is an illusion. That may be so, but consider this. The Jewish people lost 1/3, 6 million of its people in the greatest genocide in the history of mankind, perpetrated by the Germans and their collaborators. Only 78 years after the end of the Second World War, the Jewish state provides the most sophisticated air defense systems in the world to none other than Germany. Had you asked someone in 1945 if he believed that the State of Israel would be established in 3 years and that Israel would defend Germany from its enemies in 78 years, he would have thought you were joking. However, the State of Israel has become a reality. The time has come for the State of Assyria to rise and prosper as well. B'chelet Allah. It is a great privilege for me to be a partner in this historic project of renewing the Israel-Assyria alliance. And it is my duty to do everything in my power to advance this sacred goal. Every Passover, Jews customarily recite the prayerful blessing next year in Jerusalem. Every day we should bless Ashur, next year in Nineveh. B'chelet Allah. I wish to thank my beloved brothers, Rabbi Hermes Shaheen, Rabbi David, and Rabbita Susie David from the bottom of my heart for their partnership, support, and professional friendship. Chaya Arthur, Chaya Israel. Shalom Shlama to all distinguished attendees.
Thank you, Dr. Moaz, for your recorded message. You continue to enlighten us on our culture and history. As an Assyrian youth, I can firmly say that your passion and unwavering commitment are truly inspirational. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce our next distinguished speaker, the newly elected Dr. David Saliba MP. Dr. Saliba is the state member for Fairfield, and his recent win in the last state election is a resounding testament to the trust that the people have placed in him. Furthermore, I would like to extend my warmest congratulations to Dr. Saliba on his exceptional inaugural speech delivered in the New South Wales Legislative Assembly Chamber on the 20th June 2023. His address was truly remarkable and impressive, capturing the attention of all those present. Please join me in welcoming Dr. David Saliba MP to share his perspectives with us today.
Thanks, Liana. I really appreciate it. I'd just like to congratulate everyone and wish everyone a happy Assyrian National Day. Assyrians have endured over the thousands of years. We all know that. And particularly over the past 10 years, a lot of Assyrians have migrated from Iraq and the Middle East to come to Australia due to persecution and war crimes. And they've come here to settle. And Fairfield City is one of those cities that has a high concentration of people, Assyrian people. And with that, as a state MP, along with Hugh and Trevo, our job's to provide those essential government services to enable the Assyrian community to thrive. But we do have some considerable challenges out here. And I'm speaking more to the audience of people within Western Sydney. So people that have come to our country, we need to do our best to give them the skills and attributes to be successful, to build a better life, to raise their families and to be happy. And so from our end anyways, we're looking at employment programs and education programs for newly arrived Australians to go and succeed. There's a whole bunch of other challenges as well, but I won't go into it because I'm very conscious of time. But I just wanted to let the people know that we're here to serve and we're here to deliver for them. And Assyrians play an absolutely critical role within Fairfield City, and their contributions are of significant note as well. So thank you very much for all the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saliba, for your kind words and for serving us. It is my great pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Trevo MP, the newly elected state member for Cabramatta. His recent victory in the state election is a testament to his dedication to uplifting the lives of his constituents and upholding his party's values. Congratulations on your well-deserved success. We also commend Mr. Vo for delivering an exceptional inaugural speech in the New South Wales Legislative Assembly Chamber on the 20th of June this year, where he graciously acknowledged the Assyrian National Council's support during his campaign. As he takes on the responsibilities of governance, we have full confidence in his tireless efforts to address the community's needs. Today, we are privileged to have Mr. Vo join us at the Assyria Day Conference, exemplifying his commitment to fostering dialogue and cooperation among diverse communities. Let us warmly welcome Mr. Trevo MP as he delivers his speech, eagerly anticipating the valuable insights he will share with us. Thank you.
So I just can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Liana Alkes, on behalf of the Young Assyrian for that lovely introduction of me. And I'd like to also acknowledge Mr. Hermes Shahan, the President of Assyrian National Council Australia, and also Mr. David, Vice President of the Assyrian National Council of Australia, and his Beatitude Meelis Zaia AM, the Metropolitan of Australia, New Zealand and Lebanon, Patriarchal Vicar General, Assyrian Church of the East. And I understand there was the Honourable Chris Bowen there before. Also the Dr. Hugh McDermott, State Member for Prospect. Dr. Yaacov Moaz. I think he was through a recorded a message. And Dr. David Saliba, who just gave a speech then. And I understand there's Miss Stephanie Basdiakis, and also Mr. Albert Shalomon, and Mayor Joseph Hawaii, and poet Rabbi Anwar, and guest speaker Dr. Ramina Jaju Friedrich, and everyone present here today. Like it's really a honor and privilege, and I also understand that there's Dr. Ron Susek from America, and as I said, it's a privilege and honor for me to be here today. It's my first time to attend Assyrian National Day conference like today. It's my honor and privilege, and I understand there's many special guests here in Australia and America. And I understand that Dr. Ron Susek is probably near 5 a.m. In America there. And thank you so much for attending. And I am with you in celebrating Assyrian National Day today. And it was an honor for me to sit here, listen to your stories, your passions, your views, and the work you've done. And also like to take this opportunity to celebrate with you the Assyrian National Day. And hopefully, I know I'm new, but hopefully I'll be part of your work in New South Wales and also internationally, because I understand that of your work in advocating for a independent and autonomous state of Assyria, and then I understand that this conference this time emphasizes on the youth, and we all know youths are the future of the community, the Assyrian community in southwestern Sydney, and we all know the youth are also the future of local area, and hopefully the youths will be one day the future of an independent and autonomous state of Assyria, and I will continue to learn from the Assyrian community, work with the local Assyrian community, and I'm once again so privileged and honored to be here. And I won't take too much of your time, but I understand that there will be a Assyrian session later on. And like my heritage, Vietnamese Australian, I understand that keeping the language is very important. Keeping the language is very important. Through language, we learn our culture. We learn to understand people's stories and passion and hard work and sacrifices. And once again, thank you for having me, and all the best for this very important Assyrian National Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ver. I truly agree with you. Language is essential to our culture. We are honored to have you here in this conference for the first time, and we hope to see you more often. Thank you. Distinguished guests and esteemed participants, it is my utmost pleasure to introduce our next speaker, an extraordinary individual who embodies the spirit of active youth and brings a wealth of knowledge and passion to our gathering today. Joining us from Victoria, Australia, I present to you Miss Stephanie Bastakis. Miss Bastakis is a remarkable youth who has devoted herself to serving the Assyrian community and making a positive impact on the lives of her fellow youth. As a member of the Administrative Committee of the Assyrian Cultural and Social Youth Association, she has proven herself to be a driving force behind the empowerment and progress of Assyrian youth. Today, Stephanie will shed light on the immense potential and resilience of the next generation in carrying forward the Assyrian legacy, overcoming obstacles, and building a brighter future. I invite you all to warmly welcome Ms. Stephanie Bastakis.
Thank you, Liana, for the lovely introduction. Good evening, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephanie Bastakis, and I serve as the current Vice President of AXIA. I'd like to thank the Assyrian National Council of Australia for extending an invitation for me to speak on the importance of cultural preservation in the diaspora. As we rebuild our lives and community outside of our traditional homeland, we encounter a new set of challenges. Assimilation, loss of language and traditional knowledge, loss of connection to our ancestral land, and with that comes a loss of identity and a sense of belonging. It isn't too late, but we cannot take for granted that our cultural heritage will sustain for the next generations of Assyrians if we don't engage with and work towards preserving it now. Dr. Sargun Donabad once said that if Assyrians do not control the narrative of their own history and culture, then they lose a large part of who they are. As a diaspora community, we are in a position to hone in on the documentation, preservation, and revival of the Assyrian culture without enduring the systematic oppression, ethnic cleansing, religious persecution, and regional instability that drove us here in the first place. In our efforts to safeguard our cultural heritage, I am thrilled to share with you the Garments of Assyria project. an initiative spearheaded by the Axia Inc., which offers us as Assyrians a unique opportunity to reclaim and conserve our folkloric garments. Assyrian traditional clothes are tangible cultural assets, rich in symbolism, and are not simply functional or ornamental, but are carriers of Indigenous identity and continuity. Decorative motifs and embellishments such as embroidery are commonly inspired by the landscape, flora and fauna, historical and sacred contexts, as well as storytelling. By the 19th century, several factors prompted a decline in traditional garment making amongst the Assyrians. Today, this Indigenous practice is confronted with new challenges, namely globalization and its homogenizing influence on Indigenous societies. However, we can play an active role in combating this. Our garments tell a story. They are vibrant, abundant in symbolism, and distinct from region to region of our geographical homeland, illustrating the rich tapestry of Assyria's cultural heritage. This endeavor is an ongoing project driven by the end objective of creating an ebook documenting a collection of traditional clothing. The publication will dive into the symbolism behind the embroidery patterns, historical context and images, and the garment making process itself, thus preserving and documenting our culture for generations to come. This is just one example, but by undertaking the vital work of documenting, safeguarding, and reviving our shared heritage, we hold the power to reclaim our narrative as Indigenous people. The Assyrian refugees of the genocide of 1915 might have been filled with doubt and uncertainty. They may have struggled to envision a future where their descendants would still proudly embrace the wearing of traditional Assyrian attire and speak the Assyrian language. Yet the resilience of our community has defied history. Against all odds, we not only persist but flourish, proudly carrying forward the torch of our culture and heritage. The spirit of our ancestors shines through us today as we continue to honor and preserve our rich legacy for generations to come. Each one of us has a role to play. Each day that we engage with our culture, be it through speaking our language, dancing Khigia Qora, listening to an Assyrian song, or proudly dressing in our diverse folkloric garments, we not only honor those who came before us, but preserve what remains for those who are yet to come. One of the most prolific Assyrian thinkers in the early 20th century, Malfono Namfak, once emphasized the notion that unity liberates from oppression, and such a sentiment could not be more relevant to the present day. Today's event is a message of strength and resilience, and this strength lies in our unity. Before I conclude my address, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all of you here today for your efforts in preserving our cultural heritage. Happy Assyria Day, Yom Ashur Hawebricha al Kulochon.
Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing your insight as an Assyrian youth. We pray that Axia's New Garments initiative helps to successfully preserve our history and culture. Thank you. As we bring the English part of tonight's program to a close, we will now transition into the Assyrian language segment. Before we proceed, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all our esteemed guest speakers for accepting our invitation and delivering such inspiring presentations. Your contributions have enriched our gathering and will undoubtedly have a lasting impact. We extend our best wishes to each of you in your future endeavors. On this Assyria Day, Yom Atur Hawebricha al Kulochon, may you find continued success and fulfillment in all your endeavors. Now I invite you to immerse yourselves in the Assyrian presentation that lies ahead. Please feel free to stay and enjoy the program or take your leave whenever you prefer. Thank you once again, and let us embrace the beauty and richness of the Assyrian language and culture that awaits us.